Nicholas Alexandrovich Romanov was born on May 18, 1868, at the Alexander Palace in Tsarskoye Selo near St. Petersburg. As the eldest son of Tsar Alexander III and Empress Maria Fyodorovna, Nicholas grew up in a strict, conservative royal household where devotion to duty, Russian orthodoxy, and autocracy were central. Though gentle, introspective, and deeply devoted to his family, he lacked political experience and was kept far from real power during his father's reign. His education was rigid and traditional, focused on military training, history, languages, and statecraft, but failed to prepare him for the complexities of leading a vast empire. In 1890, a global tour meant to broaden his perspective only exposed his discomfort with the outside world, especially after a near-fatal assassination attempt in Japan, known as the Otsu incident. When Alexander III died suddenly in 1894, Nicholas, just 26, reluctantly became Emperor of all Russia. He admitted to close friends, "I am not ready to be Tsar." Shortly afterward, he married Princess Alix of Hesse, granddaughter of Queen Victoria, who became Alexandra Fyodorovna upon converting to Russian Orthodoxy. Though deeply in love, the couple's private, insulated nature isolated them from both the Russian people and the aristocracy. Nicholas's early reign was marked by grandeur, including his 1896 coronation in Moscow. But tragedy struck when over 1,000 people died in a stampede during public celebrations at Kodinka Field. Nicholas's decision to attend a ball that same evening damaged his image as a compassionate leader. Meanwhile, Russia began changing. Rapid industrialization brought millions to cities, but poverty and inequality sowed unrest. Nicholas clung to autocracy as divinely ordained and resisted reforms, appearing out of touch and indecisive. In 1904, Russia entered a disastrous war with Japan over territory in East Asia. The empire suffered humiliating defeats, exposing deep military and bureaucratic flaws. The following year, Bloody Sunday, a peaceful protest brutally suppressed in front of the Winter Palace, shattered the public's faith in Nicholas as the Little Father. Facing mass unrest, he reluctantly issued the October Manifesto, creating the Duma, Russia's first elected legislature. But he soon undercut its power and returned to repressive rule, particularly under Prime Minister Pyotr Stolypin. Though Stolypin initiated reforms, his 1911 assassination marked the end of meaningful change. At home, Nicholas withdrew into his family life. He and Alexandra had 5 children: Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexei, the long-awaited male heir born in 1904. But Alexei suffered from hemophilia, a condition that caused prolonged bleeding and could be life-threatening. Desperate for help, Alexandra turned to the mystic Grigory Rasputin, who seemed to ease Alexei's symptoms. Rasputin's growing influence over the empress and political appointments stirred scandal and outrage among the nobility and public. In 1914, World War I began. Though the Russian people initially rallied behind the Tsar, the enthusiasm soon faded as Russian forces endured massive losses and the economy collapsed. In 1915, Nicholas took personal command of the army, a decision meant to inspire confidence but which left Alexandra and Rasputin in charge of the government. As the war dragged on, morale plummeted, shortages worsened, and discontent exploded into open protest. In December 1916, Rasputin was murdered by nobles attempting to save the monarchy's reputation. But it was too late. In March 1917, amid strikes, bread riots, and military mutinies in Petrograd, Nicholas was urged by top military and political leaders to abdicate. He did so on March 15, ending more than 300 years of Romanov rule. Nicholas and his family were first placed under house arrest, then exiled to Siberia, eventually ending up in Ekaterinburg under Bolshevik control. Isolated and powerless, Nicholas spent his final months quietly with his wife and children. Any hope for asylum abroad vanished as civil war erupted in Russia. On the night of July 16 to 17, 1918, Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 5 children were led to the basement of the Ipatiev House and executed by a Bolshevik firing squad. Their bodies were secretly buried in the woods and remained hidden for decades. The brutal murder of the Romanovs shocked the world and symbolized the final, violent collapse of Imperial Russia. In 2000, the Russian Orthodox Church canonized Nicholas and his family as passion-bearers, martyrs who faced their deaths with faith and dignity. Nicholas II remains one of history's most tragic figures, a man of personal kindness and deep love for his family, but a weak and ill-prepared ruler. His devotion to autocracy, inability to enact lasting reform, and poor judgment during war ultimately led not only to his own downfall but to the end of the Russian Empire itself. His reign is a haunting lesson in how character, when mismatched with crisis, can reshape the course of a nation.